You are welcome to the Wealthy Continent channel, a channel dedicated to the great people and continent of Africa. Remember, it is not the place that defines the status of the people, rather, it is the people that defines the status of the place. As we continue our journey of financial literacy, we're going to be looking at the topic why Africans should get a mortgage abroad. Many years ago, I was sitting, in a public meeting, and I was hearing a speaker talking about mortgages. The person went against it. The person went so much against it and didn't encourage people to find out about it, to know about it. The person just said, no, don't get it, is this, is that. And the person was saying, if I'm going to get my own house, I'm going to buy cash. The gate is going to be far from the house. All manner of description. Now, in that meeting, you can't just stand up and start challenging anything that somebody said. So I just sat down and was listening. But I knew somebody in that meeting who had the opportunity of buying a property at the center of the city, somewhere that is nice, a place where, the value of the property will go up. Now, because of what this person had, the person canceled the deal. I got to know that the person canceled the deal because of what he had. Then the speaker himself later went back to get mortgages. I just shook my head because, people don't find out about things. People don't learn about things. And they just take somebody's word for it. I don't care who that person is. As an adult, you are responsible for the information that flows into your life. You are responsible to reject it. You don't have to take everything. Listen to it. If it doesn't work, just bin it. Even what I'm saying, if it doesn't make sense to you, bin it. Now, this person canceled that deal. Now, that deal would have been a major plus to that person's life if you understood what he was doing. One of the reasons Africans or people coming into the country, the Western world, don't understand a mortgage is somebody will tell them, do you know what a mortgage means? It means a debt pledge. You are not going to be able to pay it. You are not going. Now, so they push this mentality. It is a French word. That is what it means. But does that mean that you won't do what you need to do? It's a mindset. Now, if you understand what you are doing, you would still get your mortgage, you will still pay it off on time. Now, why should Africans abroad get a mortgage? The number one reason is if you've decided that you are going to settle in the Western world and you're going to be living there for a long time, it makes sense to get a mortgage because you are going to be staying there for a very long time. You don't want to be paying rent and paying rent and paying rent. The number two reason is now getting a mortgage is a platform for you to increase your net worth. With rent, you don't get equity. Over a period of time, if you have a mortgage, now not only are you going to be paying the mortgage, the house will be increasing in value. So if at the end of the day you decide to sell, if at the end of the day you decide to fully pay it, you are not just going to leave the house just empty-handed because you paid your rent. You are going to live with equity over the years, which makes sense. The number three reason why Africans should get mortgage abroad is because you have a place you can call your own, especially when you have fully paid the mortgage. You can go back to this place, wow, I have a place that I can call my place. A place where you can sit down, relax. You know that is fully paid. The fourth reason Africans should get a mortgage abroad is because over a long period of time, paying rent doesn't make sense. If you are paying a mortgage and you pay it off, it makes a lot of sense. The fifth reason is if we are talking about generational wealth, if we are talking about leaving something behind, if we are talking about having a voice in the community, because there's economic power, then it makes sense for you to have a mortgage and pay it off over time. There are things that you have to consider when you want to get a mortgage. The first thing is affordability, income. Can you afford it? Because if you can't afford it, there's no point going for it. Now, some people are married, so you have two incomes. Some people are single, it's one income. Now, regardless of the fact that somebody is married or not, it depends on the type of job or business that you do, because you can even be getting more as a single person than people who are married. But affordability is key. Can you afford it? It's not just I want to get a mortgage. Can you really afford it? Because if you can't afford it, it doesn't make sense. The bank is going to come and possess the property if you don't pay. Another thing you have to think about is debt. Do you have debt? Do you have consumer debt? Because if you have debt, and there's a lot of strain on your income, you may not be able to maintain a mortgage. A mortgage is not for 5 minutes. It's not for 2 minutes. We're talking about 10 years. We're talking about 15. We're talking about 30 years. We're talking about 25 years, depending on the agreement you have made. So you have to think long term. Can you afford it? If you are the type of person who defaults as a tenant now, I wouldn't even encourage you to go for a mortgage. Because if you are defaulting as a tenant, you will default when it comes to a mortgage, and the bank will repossess it. So you've just done all that, going through all that processes, administration fees for nothing, because they are going to repossess the house. So make sure you are the type of person that is somebody who can meet commitments. There are financial commitments that you have to meet. Another thing you have to consider is mortgage is long term. So are you ready to go long term to make the payment? You have to think about that. Now, don't let long term put you off. You can pay your mortgage off if you have a plan. Now, many people try and get a mortgage. Many people don't think about an exit strategy. What do I need to do to pay this off? How often or how quick do I want to make payment? How quickly do I want to get out of this? I want to make the payment. Now, you have to understand something. The bank will give you major part of the money, and you're going to put down a deposit. I would strongly suggest to you that you have a huge deposit so that you have a skin in the game, and you can start paying down your mortgage and pay it off. And when you pay it off, it is yours. So if you can understand that concept, it will help you a lot. Now, we are not all the same. We don't have the same jobs. We don't do the same thing. But if you have information about how you can get something, you can start repositioning yourself. If you need to change jobs, you change jobs. If you need to start something, you start something. If you need to cut back on your expenses, you need to cut back on your expenses. If you need to focus on something, it helps you to do what is right because you have the information. I would strongly suggest that you look into this. Don't forget that it helps you to build wealth as well. It's going to be part of your net worth. So it's worth thinking about. I would encourage you to seek a professional advice. Go to a broker, find out about mortgages. Even you find out yourself. It is better because overall you are going to be better than a renter on a long term. So it's something to think about. I believe that if you're an African abroad and you are in the position that you can afford it, you are in a position that your income, can be adjusted, you have commitment, you are somebody who is faithful to keeping commitment, I believe you should get a mortgage because it's a plus to your life and not a minus. It's something to think about. It's something for you to weigh your thoughts on, and it's something for you to take steps to ensure you do something about it. If you have been getting value from our videos, we'd like you to consider subscribing to our channel, clicking on that like button and sharing with others. Remember, a candle does not lose its value by giving light to others. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.